DreamHack Open is brought to you by Chipotle, Corsair, Monster Energy, Nice Cactus, AT&T, and GGBet.
Yesterday, we got to get our feet wet here in Atlanta. We got to take a look at all 8 of our teams, but today, we got the tough work to do. We got to start eliminating some of our squads, settle what this championship bracket is going to look like, and tomorrow, we are going to be crowning a champion here in Atlanta. And as you can see right now, we're giving you a little bit of a look backstage. This is actually being filmed on a 5G camera, mobile. It can take you absolutely anywhere. I'll be honest, we look pretty good. My name's Rich. I'm going to be your host. I am joined by Potter and Pimp, and we're going to break down everything that actually happened yesterday, but none of that would have happened if it wasn't for our sponsors. I want to give them a quick little thank you. Thank you to Chipotle, Corsair, Monster Energy, Nice Cactus, and of course AT&T for allowing us to make it through all of the matches yesterday, all of the matches today, and into Sunday where we're going to crown the champion. But before we even talk about what happened yesterday, Potter, I think we should mention Rotterdam, the fact that we kind of came into this one already knowing who some of our favorite teams might be.
Exactly, and I think yesterday illustrated just that. We have both grand finalists from Rotterdam making it through to the semifinals, so they have today off, which bodes well for Crazy because as we saw yesterday with Thomas standing in for them, they were struggling a little bit, and we heard Neil speaking about they're going to use every second that they can today to kind of get prepared, allow themselves some time to be ready for the semifinals on Sunday.
You yesterday, Pimp, said that one day off is not enough. It will be impossible to fully prepare. Do you still kind of feel that way about only having one day with the standing?
Yeah, it is going to be absolutely impossible to fully prepare. The only thing is that if they manage to somehow do well, regardless of that lack of preparation, that's only going to be a testament to how well they're playing and how good they are. So there's no doubt that you can, with one day of practice, prepare for a tournament like this against teams like Heroic, for that matter, who has a very deep map pool and a very good understanding of where they want to go with that map pool. So it's going to be incredibly tough for them. But if they were to pull it off, regardless of the circumstances, it would only be a testament to how good these players are.
But after yesterday, as we watched some of these key moments, has anything shifted as to what you expect, Potter, to actually happen in the grand final or when we crown our champion?
I think so. I think Virtus Pro is still a very big question mark for all of us, just understanding which Virtus Pro is actually going to show up. And I think Chaos turned some heads yesterday. They had such a close match yesterday on that train, making it all the way to overtime. And we actually believe that they should have probably closed that match out. So I'm excited to see what Chaos bring today, what they've changed, and what these teams have changed.
Yeah, those 2 squads that you're going to be mentioning, they don't have that allowance of a day off today. They are going to be facing elimination. But first, I do want to take a look at the teams that did get into that playoff bracket nice and early. It's going to be Crazy and Heroic, as we already did mention. So they're hanging out right now. They are waiting to figure out who they will play to try to get back in the good graces of a grand final. And now we should actually check in on those groups that we need to focus on. We need to focus on Group A. We start off with that elimination match for them. Basically, the format of the day, guys, we see 2 elimination matches, and then after that, we have our 2 deciders. Then the playoff bracket will be completely settled. We come here tomorrow, and we do the work in that bracket. But as we can see, everybody in Group A right now, who do you think those top dogs will be? Who do you think will make it to the decider match out of Triumph and Sprout, Potter?
Well, that's a tough one. I think Illuminar has kind of surprised all of us. They even said it, Innocent mentioned it in the interview yesterday, that they just feel a little more comfortable on LAN. They're used to playing online, but when they make it to the stage, when they make it to these types of tournaments, a new leaf is turned for them, and they just kind of show up in that server, and they kind of showed it to us yesterday.
Yeah, I feel like Innocent was a player that we talked about so much on the desk. It seemed like we were relying on him a little bit too much when we wanted results from Illuminar. Did anybody else step up?
The AWP player Stomp actually had a pretty rough day, I would say. I expected more from him. I think he needs to step it up if they were to have a chance of beating either Triumph or Sprout in that decider game. I think it's the team, as Potter said, they seem to be functioning better on lane for whatever reason that is. Sometimes it's just a mental thing, it's a focused thing. And yesterday it was okay. It was seemingly playing up to some of their best. But We didn't really get to see the best of Sprout yesterday. We get to see them here now in the first elimination match against Triumph. That should be a relatively easy game for them, to be completely honest. So maybe that could get them started. And then I think we have a bang on our hands between Illumina and Sprout in that decider game.
Man, it's early in the morning and you're already being so positive. You said, yeah, they did okay.
Yeah.
Okay for that is
best,
one of the highest phrases I think I've ever heard coming out from Pimp. But now, Potter, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your 3 reasons why.
Okay, so I've got the 3 reasons why leading up into this first series. It's up in the air for us. And reason number 1 is both squads kind of failed yesterday. I mean, although Sprout did show up in their matches and put up some numbers, they ultimately failed and lost. And with Triumph, they only got 6 rounds on that Nuke versus Chaos. So both of these squads somewhat failed yesterday. And with reason number 2, not proven yet, neither of these players showed up yesterday in the server, so they absolutely have to show up today. And that leads me to reason number 3, is there's no clear favorite. Although Sprout should be the favorite on paper, yesterday we put all our eggs in that basket and they didn't show up. So I don't think there's a clear favorite here, and this series is up in the air for me.
Yeah, I don't want to move too far away from this series, of course, before we do jump in, but you look at the elimination matches, and I feel like they are both very much up in the air. I think that's the flavor of the morning as we actually do get started. But Triumph versus Sprout, we're going to be putting that under the microscope to actually figure out what we think may happen here, talk about everything that did happen yesterday a little bit more in their matchups. But first, let's see where they will be playing against each other. And also keep in mind, folks, we are out of those best of ones. We are going to see best of 3s all day today. Pimp, what's catching your eye?
Well, we're not going to see Train again, and I think that's a good thing for Sprout. Not necessarily a map they had great success on yesterday. They did end up losing on that one, so them being able to remove Vertigo, that's a good thing for them. Inferno coming in, being the pick for Triumph, that's a map that everyone plays at a relatively high level, so I think that's a good pick for them. That should make sure that we at least get one competitive match in this matchup. And then Dust 2 for Sprout, a map they actually pretty decent on, you know, a very open map, a map where you can allow to be playing a little bit loose, and I think that's where Sprout needs to go right now. They didn't show up yesterday on an individual level, as you said, but today on Dust 2, if you want to win that map, you gotta be showing up as an individual, because there's going to be a lot of duels.
Do you feel the same way?
Definitely so, and I'm glad to see that Triumph first picked Inferno. Now, yesterday they also picked Nuke, and in those BO1s, it's all about that preparation, understanding exactly, kind of knowing what you're going to face up against, but they didn't, and it seemed like a lack of preparation. So hopefully coming into today, busting out that Inferno, it is Sprout's weakest map in their map pool. Hopefully they show us something special.
First, let's talk about Triumph, and let's actually look at this roster, what they were able to do yesterday. I feel like this is a team that is pretty clearly an underdog in a lot of ways. They had some realistic goals when I actually talked to them as to what they wanted to do in the tournament, right? When they were playing against some of those highest caliber teams. I mean, they start off playing against Heroic. And this was a squad that said, okay, we are going to just try to put on a good show. We're going to try to just play the best that we can, get that experience up on LAN. The LAN means a lot to them.
Sure, and if you were to stop the game against Heroic yesterday after the first half, it was actually a pretty decent showing from Triumph. They managed to put up 6 terrorist rounds on Nuke against Heroic. That's a very good sign. That's where I would say, all right, you actually have a legit chance of making this game competitive. The problem was they fell completely flat on that CT side, ended up losing 16-6, and you sit back with a feeling, all right, kind of what we expected. I think this is a team, as we also tried to build on the narrative yesterday, they are here to gain experience. They are here to get better in this LAN environment. Basically, they are here to try it out, try to feel that pressure. Now they're in the elimination match as well. You know, they know that if they lose this one, they're out. So all the pressure is on them right now, and I think that's no matter how this game is going to pan out for them, it's going to be a great experience moving forward.
That's kind of the question I have for Potter, and I know this isn't necessarily an easy question to answer, but is this a team that at this point just purely needs reps? Because when we look at them, they have a strong core. They played with each other for quite some time, and they are a young roster. I think the youngest roster here, I know a lot of the players on their team are around that 19-year-old age. They have entire lives ahead of them. I'm not jealous at all of how young they are, but they literally have a whole career ahead of them. Do they just need reps?
Exactly. I think reps is what they need. They need that experience on that stage. They needed experience to lose. And yesterday they were winning, then losing. And that kind of experience to be able to come back, form some resilience, gain that mental fortitude to win in that server. It's experience that you gain on that stage, so they absolutely need it. And yeah, I'm glad Jacob mentioned that their T side was actually pretty stellar yesterday. It was their CT side. And Inferno, the first map in this series, it's so important to understand exactly when you want to be proactive, exactly when you want to turtle up. And yesterday, I think on Nuke, they were turtling up a little bit too much, up towards that upper bomb site. There were even instances where all 5 members were down lower and they hadn't seen any defenders. So be a little bit more proactive, go out and find some information, relay that over to your teammates.
Now with Sprout, what did we actually see yesterday, Pim?
Nothing. And that was the problem. We didn't see them show up at all. I think it was very lackluster yesterday from Sprout. I think there was disappointing. They got us some rounds on the board in the end of that game, but Illuminati could have closed that game out way earlier if they wanted to. So I wasn't really impressed by anything I saw from Sprout. I think it's a little bit of a shame, right? Because there's a lot of potential on this lineup. We talked about that yesterday as well. There's, what was it? You said 8 majors in between these players. Yeah. Speedy and Dennis in particular have been around for forever. Speedy as well, a player that by many was considered to be the next big thing within Germany, hasn't really showed up at a level where you'd expect him to be. So we know that he can be good. We know that he has the potential, but he hasn't done it as of late. And now he's facing a team like Triumph. Normally you'd say this is where he goes out and he farms, he gains that confidence. So if he's not able to do that today, then I think it's going to be a case of Sprout again, maybe starting to struggle against a team of Sprout's caliber.
Exactly. As you mentioned, Speedy and Dennis, they did not show up in that server yesterday. It was actually Keto and Serson, the offer on this squad, on that train, that was showing up in that server. And he just needed his teammates to kind of meet him halfway and help him out a little bit. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They were a little bit absent.
Okay, so now we look back to yesterday. They definitely didn't perform. They have to come here now and change it. They are against Triumph, right? This is a team that we know they should be able to potentially take down, but it's an elimination match. You go into this right now, and if we see Triumph actually able to win this, how much does that change what we see potentially today? Do you think that Triumph has the potential to want to run here, or do you think Sprout is the team to come out of this that can actually make the biggest waves?
If I gotta be completely honest with you, I don't think Triumph stands any chance whatsoever to beat Illumina in a best of 3s. Neither should they stand a chance to beat Sprout in a best of 3. It very much depends on what Sprout turns up today. If it's the Sprout of yesterday, then sure, I think Triumph have enough skill, they have enough, enough level on the roster in order to make it competitive against Sprout. But if Sprout is playing up to the level we saw at Pro League, where they made it competitive against some of the best teams in the world, then no, there realistically shouldn't be any chance for Triumph. That being said, though, it is an elimination game. It is a tough position to be in for Sprout right now. Because again, let's be honest, when we look at the two teams' expectations, Triumph coming in here, they didn't expect to go to a semi-final. I hardly expect to win a game, right? They wanted to get some experience, they wanted to make it competitive, whereas for Sprout, I'm pretty sure they'd be disappointed if they don't end up in a semi-final or at the very least a final as well. So it's two different calibers of teams, so no, realistically, Triumph should lose this, but if we saw what we saw yesterday, it could be close.
I know when we were actually starting to talk about this match, one of the players you were talking about in particular was Speedy. Who's he going to be matching up against?
He's going to be matching up against Grim, and the reason I picked these two players is that we know Speedy, and as said before, we know how good he can be, but yesterday he was one of the worst performing players from this lineup, and as of late, the last 3 months, he has been the worst performing player for Sprout. That's unheard of, because this guy, as said before, he used to be one of the biggest stars within the German scene and one of the biggest talent. Now, going up against Grim, as you see here on the scoreboard as well, he had a rough game yesterday as well, but he's actually the best performing player for this lineup over the past 3 months. So a little bit of an anomaly in that sense. So I expect these two players to show up today. They had a rough day yesterday, but if they want to carry their teams over the finish line, it has to come from these two.
All right, so similar places for both of these players out of yesterday. They need to wake up on the main stage because they are on the chopping block. Elimination match, but who do you think is going to come out ahead? You can vote right now in the chat using those hashtags for each of the teams. We'll check in and see if Twitch chat will be right yet again. Every single time yesterday, you were 100% correct with your predictions.
You really do love the Twitch chat, don't you?
Much more than you.
Yeah, much more than me.
Pretty soon, I will be asking you for your opinion, which is far inferior to Twitch chat.
Yeah.
But we're going to start with Potter. I trust Potter.
Gentleman.
Well, for me, I have to go with Sprout here as well. I'm hopeful that Triumph actually show up within that server. The stars that are on this team actually show up, but I think Sprout should be able to win this, and yeah, I'm going with Sprout.
Yeah, I'd love to see Triumph win it. I'd love to see them make it competitive. I love a good underdog story, but I don't believe it. I think it's going to be Sprout all the way. I think Sprout should be disappointed if they're not, managing to close this one out 2-0. It's some very comfortable maps for them. It's maps they should know how to play. It's a team that is, at least by my understanding, expected to go to a semi-final, potentially even a final. So if Sprout are not able to beat what would be considered to be one of the worst teams at the tournament, then it would be a big disappointment. But I'd love to see Triumph make it that game.
Triumph's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident that Triumph's going to be able to take this one. I just have a feeling. I bumped into them last night again at the hotel bar.
You seem to be pretty good friends with Triumph, huh?
Keep bumping into them. I like them a lot. I see them everywhere. I'll be walking back to my hotel room. I just see Triumph. And
no bias at all over here? Yeah?
It's not biased. I just usually when I see somebody at like the hotel bar, I get like a read.
Okay.
A read.
Yeah, I can tell. I just look at them and I'm like, tomorrow's a good day. Yeah. Twitch chat. Who do you guys think is going to be able to come out on top? Do you agree with me? No. Okay, so Twitch chat this time not agreeing with me, which means I'm wrong. But it's close. It is close, and I think that is very fair. You know, a lot of the times when we do look at these polls, I think the most telling thing is how close it actually is. Because sometimes you're going to be voting for whoever you are a fan of. Sometimes you're going to be voting just to disagree with this guy right here, which I also think is a pretty decent.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
That's a decent line. I'm not going to lie. But when you see it that close, that is relatively telling. And although you guys already made your predictions, do you think that this is a close one, Potter, or do you think that you're pretty confident in Sprout?
I think Jacob said it perfectly. If we see the Sprout that showed up yesterday, it will absolutely be close. Triumph hardly got to play any Counter-Strike besides on their T side. So if they're going to show up today swinging, Sprout needs to make sure that they're in form, but I don't think it's going to be close, no.
No, it's just, to be completely honest, right? We have a team here that is in here to get some experience that hasn't really been at this level ever before. They've had a taste of it, you know, at Pro League when they were playing for Dignitas, but apart from that, they basically have no experience whatsoever. Sprout is a team that is supposed to be the flagship of German Counter-Strike. Right now, they do suck. That's just the reality, but this would be an event, you know, where they can turn the tables and potentially get off to a good start. And I think, you know, just by looking at the roster, just by looking at the players on the server, there's no doubt who it's going to edge out towards. So it would require a massive underperformance from Sprout, and it would require Triumph to play potentially the best Counter-Strike we ever seen them play in order for them to make this upset.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would really say Triumph has in their favor, they had realistic goals coming into this tournament. And I think that is something that mentally, when you get up on the main stage, can move into your favor.
They can play with no pressure, right? And that's sometimes a big advantage, especially when you play at this level of Counter-Strike. Normally the big teams, the top 10 teams in the world, they know how to deal with that pressure. They know how to handle it. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty here, it's the top 10, top 15, top 20 teams, then the pressure of potentially facing elimination in a tournament like this for Sprout, that's going to be immense. If they get off to a bad start, potentially even lose the first map, you could see them just completely crumble. So I'm not saying there's not a chance for Triumph. I'm just saying that if Sprout wants to win, if they're showing up at the level that we expect them to be at, there should not be a way they lose this one.
Yeah, I think that, you know, sometimes when you do come up to these underdog teams and they come up to you and you're like, hey, what's your goal for the tournament? It's like, oh, I'm going to win the whole thing. That's when you do start to beat yourself. But nobody knows how to beat themselves more than somebody from Jersey. Luckily, we got two casters from Jersey. Guys, how you feeling this morning? 609?
I do like that we saw the transitive property of math yesterday with you and Jacob. We talked about it. If you were dumb and Jacob agreed with you and you were both wrong, then that means you're both dumb. We didn't get a chance to talk about that.
That's true.
You gonna take that? He's right over there.
Yeah. I'm right here, literally like 10 feet away.
There's people I care about and there's people I don't care about.
Oh,
I'm not gonna mention.
Did you hear that,
names.
Blue? Did you hear how he's talking bad about
he
you?
sounds like my father.
I'm just a passenger on this. This is all you. This is
No,
your
you
show
told
at
me to
this
say
point.
this.
No, I didn't.
He
What are you
literally wrote it
talking
down on a
about?
card and handed it to me before we got started.
Do you have that card?
Don't you guys have a game to
I
cast?
lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we do. I guess we can jump into the game. Yeah.
Pimp demands you work. Work.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to be jumping into our first best of 3 series of the tournament here in just a few minutes, and it's bound to be an interesting one with Triumph and Sprout having the issues that popped up yesterday. Now we're going to see both of them go at each other. Unfortunately, only one can survive. The loser will be our first team to be eliminated from this tournament. Thankfully, it's going to be done in a best of 3 fashion. So hopefully things are able to go a little bit better for both of these teams today. Maps didn't necessarily seem to play too well into their favor. Nuke for Triumph, Train for the folks over on Sprout. Neither one were able to fare very well. So now we're going to have to hope that things end up going a little bit better on maps like Inferno and Dust 2, which are the first 2 in the pool for this series.
I mean, Inferno is a strong map for them, historically looking at the Triumph roster. My concern is something that, you know, Pimp had mentioned on the desk. It's just a matter of being outclassed potentially in a team like Sprout, but also the AWP. They don't really have a strong AWP presence on Triumph. You know, we watched yesterday, Searson looked pretty strong with the AWP. They also have that double AWP flex with multiple players. You could see Keto pick it up as a flex player. We saw Favin actually rocking the double AWP setup. Was it successful for them? sort of. I mean, they did get decimated in that match, so I guess it's not really a fair comparison. But when you look at the other guys, I'm just a little bit concerned. But we are going to be jumping into the first match of this series. It's going to be Inferno, and we'll see if Triumph is able to come out on top.
All right, let's get into it. First round has begun. Triumph starting out on the T side. Sprout going to be jumping onto the CT side. Let's see exactly how Triumph will look to approach this. And Sprout actually going to get quite aggressive, specifically Keto, moving himself out down main mid. Trying to take some duels. Searson, in the meanwhile, is also going to be posting up on the inside of the apartments, trying to see if he might be able to find anyone coming outside of T-Apps towards the bridge. But at the moment, no one finding their mark. Keto is moved even further down through mid now, and he does have support at the crossbars from Dennis. Now Faven. Going to be the first one to find a fight. He just ends up walking into a two-man setup. But look, it's a bait as it gets them all out into the open. Keto is ripping them to shreds as he gets an ace within just a few seconds.
Yeah, Keto may be low carb, but he's getting all the bread in the pistol round. My man comes up with a huge ace, playing aggressively down mid. They never spot him. He just sits inside the corner and waits. And that is a brutal and punishing blow to lose a pistol round like that. That doesn't really start your series out strong.
Perfect play from Sprout. They knew that there was going to be issues. I think getting the players from Triumph into the open, so whether it was intentional or not, Faven's death ignites the flame for Keto, and you can see it here once again. Just rips them apart, headshot after headshot. Boop. Beautiful stuff from Keto.
Now we already have a pause coming in, so I'm not sure.
I would assume.
I think Triumph is asking for a mulligan. Redo all of our keyboards and mice were unplugged. Quick, somebody pull your plug.
Not going to take very long, though. We're already back in the game now, so won't have that opportunity for Triumph, unfortunately. Sprout does maintain the 1-0 lead, and now Triumph will take their pretty much immediate full eco with the way things went on that last round. Not much of a point of trying to buy into it at this point.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, it wasn't like they even got towards the site. They never even got up Banana. Spongy did get those entries, and Spongy was the strong player for them yesterday. He's really the one to watch, as he kind of carried them into several round wins yesterday in their first match. Here, though, it's going to be Grim who dies first. As Pearson with the MP9 going to be making some extra money. It'll be important for the off presence to come in with a little bit of bonus bank. Spongy dropped it pretty low as he's got the Deagle, and he's taking the fight long range with another MP9, and this is a great cash-in round here for the CT side. Exceed's the only one left.
Yeah, just a quick little shooting gallery around here ultimately for Sprout, as Triumph was unable to get to any real position in time to put any pressure on these CTs. Exceed is able to line up one for himself as he finds the Deagle shots against Keto. They now know where he is in the 1v4 situation. Once again, we'll try to play this as slowly as possible in hopes of trying to bait out more kills, translating to more eco damage, but not going to work out. Faven takes him down after the original kill, and that is going to be the second round on the board for Sprout, as you might expect.
Sprout with the strong start. We'll see what Triumph's got up their sleeves. Again, this is Triumph's pick and a map they do feel confident on. A map I would have loved to see them potentially play yesterday. We talked about it, that Nuke really didn't give them the opportunity to flex their capability. And here we see them come out with the 5 SG buy. I love that. The run boost across. A lot more coordinated than we saw them. I believe it was them on train that was having a hard time with the run boost yesterday, but we saw that a couple times. Players failing on that. Snake's going to get tagged down to 14 by the op early on. Nice flick from Searson, and he'll escape as well. This is exactly what we were talking about. He will be a pest and a nuisance for this T side of Triumph.
Searson waiting for the peak to come out. Unfortunately, Smoke is going to delay that duel even further. So open up an opportunity for Exceed to walk around Arch side and try to get some pressure going here. Ooh, Searson does find a 1-for-1 exchange. Unfortunately, the one that he gets is not onto the player that was aiming at him. So does get immediately knocked out there. Snake's also incredibly low, though, so this is still favoring Sprout at the end of the day, and it's a worthy trade, ultimately, considering the presence that they still have on site. Rotations are on the way. Speedy should be arriving soon. And again, utility is still relatively strong for the CTs here as well. As you can see, they just held back the push coming in from apartments, and now that isolated Exceed, allowing for Keto to knock him out and get aggressive in doing so without much of a risk.
Oh, the SG swap actually punishes Speedy just a bit. Faven is here, and he's got Snakes down to just 3 HP. Remember, he was legged early on in the round from the window. Nice try. Close. Ball is light.
A little to the right.
Yeah, a little bit of bounce pass action.
They end up peeking out over here one more time. Faven will finish things off once again for Sprout, and they will continue to take the lead at 3-0.
I respect the improv effort on that flashbang. It never always goes the way you want it to, but there's the illustration of what I was talking about was Searson's going to be very difficult for them to deal with. Yeah, they get a kill, but that was after he had already taken down 2 players and found a significant amount of damage on Snakes as well. So he will be a problem, and I don't know if there will be a solution. Again, T-Side's back down on low money. Dinked immediately. That one's rough, but Keto is here to clean things up. It's down to Spongy already. We're only 20 seconds into the round, and it's a 1-on-5.
Not much hope is seen for Triumph in these ecos here. Spongy at least is going to be able to get some damage onto the economy, but it's negligible when it's only one kill. Keto will quickly trade that back out. And once again, another easy round for Sprout on the anti-eco.
The fear right now, if you're Triumph, is you don't get your foot in the door early and you just kind of shut down mentally.
Yeah, I mean, this is like snowballing out of control dangerously fast. To be fair, we're only a couple rounds in, but
these rounds have been so quick.
Yeah, that's
they're
the
like
thing,
20
yeah.
seconds. Even the pistol round was almost like lightning fast.
Once it started.
Yeah, it was like we waited for contact, and as soon as we got contact, it's like everyone's dead.
Ripping the shreds. And that was Keto that allowed the ace right at the beginning. Speaking of which, he's going to end up getting burned nearly. Burned to death. He's brought down to 31 HP, but he does make it out of that one. Grim is going to end up taking some heat back, though, I believe mainly from HE grenades. Molly might have ticked off a little bit from him there, too. So ultimately a bit of an even exchange at the end of the day. Grim's down at 45, Keto's down at 31. Neither team with a real health pool advantage coming out from that one.
Keto taking notes from the Chipotle Players Lounge. A little barbacoa going on right now as he got cooked at the top of Banana, but he'll stick around. His teammate Steerson is dead, but Speedy's the one to strike. This is the man they highlighted early on in that pregame, talking about how his performance as of late has been a little bit subpar. Disappointing, one would say. He'll pick up 2 kills on the round, brings things to a 4-on-3, 55 seconds left on the clock. You've got Speedy still playing up very far on Banana. He's got backup from Faven as well, who's all the way back by the car. The AWP from Voltage. Just sort of sticking back right now. If that swing comes in from Speedy, could be a multi-kill, but no, it's Snakes to clear the corner first. Faven gets one more on the round. He'll flash his way out, and he'll get backup arriving momentarily.
It's going to be a couple seconds away here still, and there isn't a full rotate from Dennis just because they don't have confirmation that the execute's actually going to be coming in on this site. So for now, they're going to have to hold it an even 2v2. Faven's going to be moved out of position to second box now. Try and play behind this one. As the team hops up here. Look for him, but no, they completely missed Faven behind second, and Keto will just move in for the finisher.
That molly was a false sense of security. He was burning just in front of that. So I'm actually watching him sit in that position, and I can hear his thoughts. He's like, oh, please don't spread. Please do not spread. And he ends up surviving in that position. And as a result, they just assume it's clear. They do a shallow peek. They don't see anything. And it ends up punishing them pretty heavily. Great round from him as well. Sprout goes up 5-0, and it doesn't really show any signs of slowing. 0 kills for Grim and Voltage. Snakes only has 1 thus far. Hopefully they can turn things around here.
Only thing that's really going to be improving for Triumph would be the amount of money that's available to their pool, but even that has essentially expired now. So we are pretty much just locked in a cycle for Triumph at this point where they need to start making some serious improvements here. Otherwise, we're just going to see the same rounds repeated over and over again. It does look like we are about to see the start of the execute here for Triumph, though, because they've got nades ready to go through brackets and start to get them closer to the site, although getting up to the site itself is probably still going to be a few more seconds away. Steerson actually just moved out. Dennis still not necessarily in a safe position, but a position where he can take some damage and get a kill and then hide in that little tiny corner. Steerson with an uncharacteristic miss. However, Dennis is still there to trade it back. Speedy can also revenge for Dennis after he gets knocked out, and Spongy picks up 1 more from the inside of the apartments. It's all kept even now in a 2v2. And Triumph get closer and closer to the site. Sprout, in the meanwhile, still waiting for their second player to rotate. Faven taking a long path. It could be the one that shuts this completely down, though.
Keto in a great position right now. I don't think they're going to expect somebody to be on the site. He's got that SG close range. He'll take down Snakes, and there's 1 more over in the pit, but it's Spongy who comes out on top of the duel. It's going to be a 1-on-1. Spongy fighting for his team's chances. Flashbacks to yesterday when this was often the position he found himself in. The bomb is down on the site. He's got 25 seconds to go scoop it up, and Faven is not moving. My man is stoic as he waits for Spongy to make his first move. Starts to advance out, not going to stand near the A-cart, and has no idea where he's getting shot from. 6 rounds now for Sprout. Spongy got him close, but couldn't quite take him across the finish line. By the way, coming into that round, Keto had 220 ADR across 5 rounds. Now, to be fair, the ace definitely. Oh yeah, that boosted the stats a little. Still, my man is 12.
500 damage round for you there. Bumped you up real quick. Yeah, but ultimately right now, Sprout in the gun rounds just favoring over Triumph to a big deal due to better positioning and better capability to pick up trades a lot of the time. Triumph are losing a lot of players and they're finding no response to it, nor do they really have the position to find any response. And this on top of numerous other problems that they're showing right now. The economy, inabilities to get plants, is making this a pretty one-sided game right now. We'll see, though, if they can start to turn things around, as that last round definitely looked better. Just need to push it a bit further to get over the finish line. For Sprout, though, Faven waiting in an open position for this wraparound from Triumph, as they've got 4 players working their way up Banana right now to try and push into this site. Only a 2-man setup here currently for Sprout, so it's going to need to be fast rotates. They've got Keto right outside of Arches. He can pretty quickly move if the need should arise, and it's looking like they have called for him to half rotate already, but the other 2, they're going to take a while, so it's only on these 2 players to hold this. 1 for 1, not the best start for Faven. Speedy's going to have to do the rest of the work. He gets 2. Well, that's only going to leave 2 left alive here. Sprout are still smoked out, and that'll finally guarantee a plant here for Triumph.
Spongy now, yet again, in the clutch position. It's a 1-on-3. He's already found 1 kill on the round. They're going to be moving in quick. Great damage dealt on the first target. Wants to find the second as well, but they're going to double peek him if he's not careful. Goes for the wide swing, understands that it's coming. A 7th round will follow for Sprout. Again, you got to hope that Triumph kind of sees the writing on the wall and calls a timeout here. They need to make a change. Look at that beautiful AT&T 5G camera, too. That's pretty awesome.
So we're checking these guys out now. And we'll see in a second, because this is now 6 in a row, I believe, for the folks on Sprouts. Like you were saying, this is normally when we would see a pause come in for the team on the losing side of that. And that's basically going to be up to Triumph. Do they have an idea already about how they want to approach this? Do they have the solution in their mind, or do they need to take that pause in order to figure it out? Because right now, Sprout is lighting this game up on the CT side.
Yeah, I mean, this game is moving about as fast as AT&T 5G. Hashtag ad. You like what I did there? I mean, the truth is, like, Sprout is sprinting towards the finish line, and Triumph has to find a way to slow this down. But again, we talked about it yesterday. I kind of feel like this team has strength in being scrappy. Maybe ditch the playbook to a certain aspect and get a little puggy. Like, flex your individual aim. Like, we talked about it with them at breakfast. We said, this game is 60% aim, and they were like, so you're saying we have a 60% chance to win? Like, they're joking around about themselves, obviously, but they started to look better on Nuke yesterday when they sort of got a little bit more loose and just let their players free flow around the map.
My only problem with that is that Sprout is showing signs of kind of the same thing, where they're getting relative, like, I mean, you can see this here. Keto's peak, I think we saw this from Searson or Faven a couple seconds ago as well, where they're going out, they're pushing through apartments, they're pushing through mid-brackets, they're heading down Banana. So Triumph can't really do that right now because they don't even have a handle on how to stop Sprout from getting aggressive against them. So if they tried to get even, aggressive themselves, I feel like they would just be, running to their graves a little bit quicker here, since they don't know how to control the situation that's in front of them right now.
And again, I'm a little bit disappointed in Triumph just because things do seem somewhat vanilla. But when you talk about the teams that they would typically play against on this map, they wouldn't need to do much more than that. Even just looking at their recent history, Mac 51, Rugrats, Ascent, Peaker's Advantage, Monstars, these are not high caliber teams. So they can kind of get away with maybe a little bit sloppier playstyle and relying on individual players like Spongy, who's bailed them out of situations in the past. And he's trying to do that here as well, sitting at the top of the scoreboard right now, 9-8, but he is watching on the sidelines. It's Voltage in a 1-on-3. He's got the bomb, and he's got his AWP in hand, but 3 targets in front of him. Keto's very low. Keto found 2 early on in the round, and he's already realizing this is not worth it. So save the op, and hopefully at 8-0, something will strike, and we'll see Triumph put themselves on the board.
Time's going to be running out here in just a second, so round will expire, and we'll see Sprout pick up yet another one. 8-0 now in their favor. Triumph still yet to find a single round here. Voltage, as you might expect, will successfully save the op due to the relatively quiet nature of the round after they got pushed down in mid once again. But still, overall, nothing really being put on the board here for Triumph that's sticking. There's one really redeemable round we have from them right now, and that was the execute they made onto A, where it was eventually brought down to a 1v1. But even then, looking back on that round, I personally never felt Sprout didn't have what they needed to close that one down. So even the closest round was still very, very one-sided for Sprout now. That's just making this look very desperate. However, Triumph is looking like they're going to bring a little bit more aggression to the table this time, and it started off well for once. Moving in, Faven has gone down, and they've taken very early banana control, which is something we haven't seen really yet from Triumph here, at least not successfully following a kill.
Yeah, I do like that they sped things up a little bit. They find that opening kill, reading the fact that Sprout has been playing pretty aggressively, so they spot one top banana, and then they pump the brakes. Slow down, we don't need to move now. Unfortunately, that kill is immediately traded out by Keto, who is on an absolute heater right now. currently sitting at 17-2. Searson's going to connect with the off just a little bit, drop Spongy down to 54. No, that was actually elsewhere on the map. Spongy took damage over in apartments, excuse me.
Yeah, Searson was completely, I'm pretty sure. He had him dead to rights, too. It's a wide peek. Another miss from Searson, actually. It's going to be an opportunity for Triumph to sneak past, get themselves onto the site. Utility, again, though, has still been very well managed from Sprout. So they're going to be able to smoke this out once again and prevent the push from coming in. Teaser throwing in their own XP utility here, though, so I think they're just going to push right past it. Speedy gets caught in a very awkward position out in the open. Same setup as well for Searson. Speedy's going to get traded this time to another miss from Searson, and he ends up going down to Grim.
Yet again, those mollies are proving to be somewhat difficult for Triumph. They don't quite spread where they need them to. Keto will move in close, and it's an easy kill for Spongy. 2 on the round for him. Dennis by himself in the retake. And he might actually just decide to save this. Their money, you know, it's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. Given that this is 8-0, you'd expect those numbers to be far higher than they actually are.
The more recent rounds at least have seen a couple of trades to bring the numbers down for Sprout and limit the money by quite a bit. So Triumph is slowly giving themselves an opportunity to at least get some rounds on the board here for this half by either breaking Sprout's economy and getting a few rounds off of anti-ecos, and as well finally putting a legitimate round on the board for themselves here with this win. Nicely done from them. That's going to be 8-1.
Gotta wonder how that round would look a little bit different, though, if that's not Searson behind second orange. If he has a rifle in that position instead, that would be so much harder for them to get into that bomb site.
Yeah, I think the positions were a little bit scrambled because they weren't necessarily expecting the XP to come at that point since they had it smoked off. So Triumph, I mean, basically out of time, had to force the issue, and it was a good time to do it, as Sprout seemingly was not ready for it. That and quite a few misses from Searson there when he had a few players out in the open, seemingly dead to rights, left Triumph with a lot more opportunities than they've usually had in the previous rounds.
Look at this stack over towards Banana, though. 3 players here and a 4th to offer support. That A site is wide open. They're going to get super aggressive down Banana. Keto goes for the jump shot, but it's actually Dennis that saves the day. Exceed is dead early, as is Spongy. Yet again, Sprout goes aggressive, and it works out for them. Pays off in dividends. As we find Grim, Voltage, and Snakes looking around at their fallen comrades, wondering how this happened so quickly.
Voltage going to get dropped by Faven. Back down towards the mid-crossroads, and that'll leave the bomb on the ground. Dennis now potentially going to try to move forward here in just a second. Going to come very close to Grim. Oh, and Dennis happens to be looking in the right direction for the kill once the smoke fades. He'll take out Grim, follows that up with the final frag on Snakes, and we are right back with Sprout controlling the game.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's a rough round to lose there. I mean, you would hope they would at least take a few bodies out, but pretty clean round coming in from Sprout with the aggression down Banana early, and then Dennis just says, hey, what's up? Hey, neighbor. 9-1. They finally, you know, get some action going, and it's immediately turned back against them. That said, they do have that loss bonus to buy back off of, so a full buy coming in, including the AWP in Voltage's hands. Exceed watching that molly burn, goes for the safe smoke, didn't want to take chances with the spread.
So a little bit of timidness now. You can notice Sprout's actually pulled back the aggression quite a bit. They're not, at least for the Sprout, they're not really going to be trying to play out towards there or anything like that.
I like that molly.
Go up into the apartments there. Triumph actually pretty low on utility, so that'll be a relatively early molly used for them, and was the only one as far as I can tell. Exceed burning out to a molly in the meanwhile over here on Banana once again, and he'll be pushed. A pretty easy kill with the already low HP. Or actually, no, it's Exceed that gets killed. Excuse me. He's going to be able to move it in front.
Yeah, that's
Speedy.
That's
yeah, so let's flip that around. That's actually a very good kill for Exceed right there. Nicely done. He knocks out Speedy. And that's going to bring us down into a 5v4. Still a very quiet round, though, besides that action over there on Banana. Apartments specifically has continued to remain a little bit timid here. But Sprout, I think they're going to try it. Snakes is right into it, though. Sees the push coming, and that's going to be an immediate call-off from Sprout.
Looks like we are going to see an A execute coming in here from this T side of Triumph. Smokes and flashes being sent out, but return fired by the CT side of Sprout. Triumph now has to make their way up. There's 30 seconds left, and they still have to clear out these positions. Keto able to get that first kill. Spongy hasn't made it out yet from the balcony. And the double man setup on site seems to be working out, but both players have died. Now it's up to Dennis on the site. The spray gets away from him a little bit, but he's trying to kill time. Down to just 15 seconds, but they do secure the site, and it will be a 2-on-1. The bomb will be planted in that safe position over in the corner. Searson now coming in with the AWP. We watched him miss a few shots uncharacteristically in the round that they won. And he starts things out with a little bit of a whiff, just catches him as he goes back behind the wall.
I think he did have an AK to his right a second ago. Got another one right in front of him there. He's going to choose to stick with the op anyway. Gets the first one on the Spongy. Unfortunately, he is overexposed, and that opens up the possibility for a trade to come in, and more importantly, a second round for Triumph to go up onto the board. They are slowly fighting their way back into this. The question is that going to be enough to give them what they need to bring this back in the second half? It's almost still a certainty that we'll see Sprout with a pretty significant lead at the end of this first half.
Here's the disappointing thing if you're Triumph. If you had taken maybe 1 or 2 players down in the round before that, that would drastically shape the buy that we're seeing here from Sprout, where there is some equipment coming in. Fast is the name of the game as they get up to top Banana, but then they pump the brakes yet again. So quickly getting Banana control and then deciding, hey, let's not overextend this.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
this is where the aggression was coming from Sprout very early on in the half. It was kind of cooled off more recently. So Sprout's just trying to take that in stride and get a bit more map control. The problem is, as we can see here, Sprout always ending up with a little bit more utility in these situations, or at least enough to counter out the push in this case, is going to be able to push them right back and take away that control.
Planner boost coming in from Faven and Speedy. Are rocking the SMG over on that side, so they heard the bullets. It's possible they'll think the site's a little bit weaker than it might actually be. Do have the M4 backing them up. There's 3 players over on A, though. They're playing up pretty far on mid. A lot of control of apartments.
Should mind you as well, it's basically going to be the economy run around here. Sprout needs to win this one if they are going to be on an eco, and that really opens up the opportunity for Triumph to get in. However, as we can see, it's a 2-for-2 exchange, even fight ultimately, as Triumph once again get control of the B site. Rotates are on the way. They didn't really have anyone standing by to rotate, so they're going to be relatively slow. As you might be able to guess, not really any hope to stop the plant. And Sprout now has to attempt this in full 3v3 fashion, and they do not really have any utility to do. They got 1 smoke on Searson, and that is it. T's also have the CT road smoked off, although there's a small gap on the side of it. They're still going for it, though, despite the low time. Here we go in just a second. Moving past the Crips. Keto strikes first, looking for another one over on Banana. They do connect some damage, whether they realize it or not. Voltage strikes back and is able to pick up the trade for his dead teammate. Now we're going to see Dennis find the next one. They'll move in. Voltage has to push them at the right time. They need to get on that defuse. Voltage finds the first pickup and the second, and clutches it out for Triumph, giving them round number 3.
You know, we said we weren't sure what to expect from them with the op presence. We didn't feel like Voltage really woke up yesterday, especially in comparison to Searson. But Searson has kind of cooled off as this half has gone on. He's been missing some shots, and Voltage comes through with a huge clutch. His counterpart actually sticking the bob, dodging and trying to maneuver just to miss, hopefully, one of those bullets and then give him enough time for the defuse. 9-3, though, that's a big win. It breaks the money for Sprout, and it gives Triumph an opportunity to get themselves back into this game.
So Triumph may yet have a chance to put a decent scoreline on the board here for their T side. Seemed certain that they were only going to end up with 2 to 4 rounds based on what we had seen for the rest of this half. But this opens up a new opportunity for them to, of course, at best, push this to 6. That will give them a much, much better chance, especially with the 1 pistol on CT side, to immediately get back into this map and into this game. Dennis, with an aggressive push out to mid, finds the opening kill on Snakes. Exceed will trade that onto Keto, and has already moved up, of course, onto the site itself. Trying to take easy control there due to Sprout trying to stack over towards the brackets. And now, as you might expect, Sprout are not really going to have a chance at a retake here.
Getting the bomb into that position, too, makes this very difficult to retake. You can cover it from so many positions. And I believe you have to actually turn towards it to tap it even. So even if they got themselves in that situation, as soon as they turn towards it to tap it, the guy from Pit can peek. It's a 3-on-4, and it seems unlikely that they're even going to touch that bomb. It's just pistols. They're setting up for exits. They're hoping that someone from Triumph will make a mistake, maybe fumble a gun away. But I like the read from Triumph coming in with this many SMGs, understanding exactly what they're going to be facing off against. Build up a little bit of extra bank. Searson now moving in. Was looking to do that cancel damage on the players in the pit. Drop them a little bit lower, maybe kill them if possible. The beauty of that plan also, you don't have to leave. You sit in pit and you only take like 30 damage.
So, a nice round being picked up there from Triumph. A couple more going to come their way. A bit easier fashion after they finally break down that CT side economy. The constant rounds of aggression and 1-for-1 exchanges from Sprout came back to bite them. Only for 1 round, though. As you can see, they are already back into it. Full M4s and a decent amount of utility, too. Most notably, though, you're going to see Searson you're going to see Searson without the op going into this one. So, won't have that firepower on the CT side. Nice early nade, though. Knocks out a massive amount of HP from Snakes, and he's already going to be down to 31.
Seems like that has been a consistent thread, too, is Triumph taking that early damage, especially Snakes Snakes got legged with the off the one round, got naded the next round. Seems like that's happened over and over again. Keto up on the balcony. That's not something we've seen from them yet. He's got a partner over in the pit. Dennis is frying, but he managed to escape the flames. Voltage does hit a shot, though.
Still a little nervous that there's one more player on the site, too. That all happens pretty chaotically. Snakes is going to be able to peek up from the apartments and find Searson. That's going to leave it Snakes, Speedy, and Death in this fight. Speedy, though, with a nice angle on the stairs in the apartments, picks off Snakes, and Sprout are back in control at 10-4, entering the final round of the half.
Smiles over here on the German side as well. They're looking really good, feeling very confident as we approach the last round of the first half. It's an understandable place to find yourselves in. Triumph really haven't gotten much going. The hope for them is that they can at least find this last round, make it 10-5, and try to turn things around. Keto having an all-star performance right now, 20-7. He started out with a pistol round ace pushing down mid, so why not repeat that by pushing down mid again? He catches Exceed looking the other way, but Exceed strafes around the corner, dodges the bullets long enough to beat him in the duel. So it will be a man advantage going the way of Triumph early in the round.
Triumph take that. Unfortunately, we're not going to take a whole lot of map control behind it just yet. So it's only a kill advantage that they'll get going into their favor this early on. Minute and 20, there's still plenty of time to make up for that and take the control they need. Been pretty varied with this. This is one thing you kind of respect out of Triumph is they're not sticking too heavily to one site. They're varying their play quite a bit. This is allowing for them to at least keep Sprout guessing a little bit as to what their intentions are going to be. Another kill is found by Grim. That's going to leave Sprout even weaker. Just one player defending this site now, and it's the Opera. It's Searson. He's already been found out, too, transitioning to pit. So they're going to have a pretty good idea about how to handle him, take him out of the game relatively quickly, and no sign of a rotate at all from Sprout. Ooh, that's a good thing, though, because look at this lateral that Triumph are going to try and pull, falling completely back through mid, going up banana. It is a very good thing that Faven and Speedy stuck around in that B site.
Speedy boosted up in the back of sight. Doesn't actually get anything going. It's up to the FAMAS now, and he'll get taken out quickly, too. This is a great round coming in from Triumph right at the tail end of the first half to give them that 10-5 scoreline. Much more recoverable. Obviously, Searson's still in play, and he does have the AWP, but it feels like this one's too far gone, especially without a kit.
Yeah, he's going to make an attempt at the 15th round, but as you just mentioned, there's not really much of a hope for him to win this one. Normally, you'd see this save 9 times out of 10. This is the 10th time. So we'll see Searson just try to... He's actually just going to go straight down CT as well. Trying his best to take any kind of duel that might be presented to him, but he's not finding it right now. And as you'll see, Exceed will cut him out very quickly as soon as he enters this site, giving Triumph that 5th round. A much more respectable 5-10 scoreline, considering the way that this game started out.
We are going to throw things to a break here, and we will be back with the second half in just a bit.
Champagne, it's making me insane. It shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, but I'd do anything. I'd even buy a ring if I got the chance. Her favorite song came on, and here she comes. Everybody turns their head. The band just don't stop dead. She's crazy, beautiful. Oh, oh, oh. She's crazy, beautiful. She lights it up like gasoline. Crazy beautiful, you know what I mean. She lights it up like gasoline. And she's the hottest damn thing. She's crazy, beautiful. Oh, oh, oh. She's crazy, beautiful. And it's driving me wild. She's crazy, beautiful.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to our first game of day number 2 here at the DreamHack Open Atlanta. It's Triumph going up against Sprout in our first best of 3 of the tournament. A great start for Sprout at the beginning of Inferno here, but things went a bit sour towards the end of the T side for Triumph. So Triumph have bounced back, put 5 rounds onto the board. Now it's time to see if they can translate that into a tie now that they're on the CT side.
Well, they go aggressive early on. They try to do what Sprout did to them in the pistol, but pushing down into the apartments instead does not pay off. They lose 2 players very quickly. Exceed and Voltage both dead, watching from the sidelines. Dennis gonna get executed by Spongy here with the USB, the all-star player right now for Triumph, sitting well above the rest of his teammates. That's exactly what we saw from him on Nuke yesterday as well. And he'll respond in kind with 2 kills to bring things to even strength. Unfortunately, the B site completely lost. It's going to be a retake here from the CT side.
Bit of a bamboozle there coming out from Sprout. They are able to quickly maneuver themselves over onto the B bomb site. Triumph trying their best to rotate into this, but they're coming in late. With kits, they've got that extra 5 seconds to play into, which can turn into a lot of situations. But Searson just goes leaping through the CT smoke. He's only able to get a 1-for-1, but most importantly out of that, he gets some good intel that the other 2 players are also stacked together here. No one's split off and is already inside of the church or working their way over towards the crypt. So exactly where these final 2 fights will come from. They even just trying to be cautious about it. I think at this point it's more prudent to try and waste the time as Speedy kills the diffuser and gets the headshot to follow it up. It's a swift shutdown for Sprout. And the potential end of the game starting to show up here for Triumph if they don't bounce this back quickly once their money tallies up.
The hardest part, too, is that Triumph, like it's been mentioned, is a younger team. Young players in general have a hard time escaping a deficit. It gets into their head, and then especially so when we move into a potential second map and a third map, we move into that second map, how are they going to reset? Are they able to reset? Or will it just be a continuation of map 1, maybe even worse? Triumph, pure pistols. Not exactly surprised. This is the staple of MCE teams. Not buying armor, not forcing up, wanting to save that money for that extra utility in the round that will follow. So the only thing they buy coming into this round, a singular HE grenade.
Where that's actually going to be used is yet to be seen, but they've got it in the right position. It would have been great to try and chuck down Banana, but they decided to use it on mid brackets instead, and that'll cost them heavily. Only docking off about 40 HP, a little bit less than that, from Keto.
Nade strike going in. Actually, that one nade not really where it needed to be. It was supposed to land in a similar place. Basically clearing out the boost. Exceed, sees the pop flash. And there's the 2 quick kills for Keto with the SMG. Now that should siphon players off from B, and this is well played by Sprout. Pulls the players off, and now the B site's pretty much clear. The only one here is Spongy. With just a USP, he can only do damage. Can't even finish him off, so 5 men survive for Sprout.
Sprout once again showing good cleanup capabilities here. Obviously not too difficult to close out these anti-eco rounds, but they're doing it with the majority of their players alive, which is the important part out of this one to build up the money, which did become a little bit of an issue for them towards the end of the first half due to some relatively aggressive play we saw earlier on, and leaving with a massive amount of cash, and that's how Triumph started to wiggle their way back into this one. It seems as though that is starting to drift away for Triumph, though, as Sprout once again looks for that 13-5 lead here to start out the second half. Triumph, of course, coming into this with their own series of buys and good amount of utility behind it as well, but let's see if that's going to be enough, as it often hasn't been, at least going off the first half.
Yet again, we go for a boost here from the CT side, and they put Voltage up in the corner. He'll be looking down towards mid. But a little bit slower pace from Sprout. Something we did not see from them on their CT side. They played hyper-aggressive, constantly taking the battle to Triumph's doorstep. Flashbang's gonna go out from Dennis. Double flash as well. Voltage should be able to get the first one, and he actually gets the second. A little help from Spongy. So that's both players towards A, but it is gonna be a B hit momentarily. We've got 2 players positioned. Snakes throws the counter smoke, so that might help. Molly goes down from both teams. That will flush a player out, but slow down the push as well.
I'm going to be sitting behind New Box here, waiting for the push to come in. Snake's trying to do the same hold, but from over here in CT. And he's got to get flashed out. I don't know how much he saw of the actual push. Sprout are really hesitant to do this, though. They're just buying more time for rotates at this point. They're going to move in. It's a good exchange, though, for them. A 2-for-1 at the end of the day, but that's immediately going to call the sirens for the other 2 players that are sitting on the A site to rotate over. What's important for Sprout right now is they cleared out the site player. And now they can get the plant on the ground.
That's a position, though, that you should never be able to take that easily. Like, they dry peeked, effectively, CT, just double peeked it. They didn't have any smokes left, so that was free and clear and open for the CT side. Searson gets himself into construction, and XC just doesn't even see it. Kalman gets picked off in the door, and now they're wondering if they can even retake this. They don't have kits. A lot of time has been lost already. You can see they're peeling off. This is going to be a save from Triumph. Massive missed opportunity with the way this started.
Now, it was looking great for Triumph. Seemed like a round that they would have been able to easily translate into a win. Even looking at the very end of this, Sprout being incredibly timid with their push out from Banana. It seemed like Triumph had everything they needed to shut that down, but Sprout, the aim, really proved superior, and that's all it was. Their ability to get onto that B site that saved them in this round and keeps their win streak going. Now it's 3 for the side.
They're just a bunch of gamers. They're out here. Hardcore gaming.
Real gamer moment, you know?
Triumph, again, just really struggling here on their map pick, a map they statistically are strong on. They're going to be moving into Dust 2, which is the next map, and I'm sure the desk highlighted that is a strong map for Sprout. It's not exactly a bad map for Triumph either. Hopefully we'll see something more from them. Here comes a fast play from this T side, and Grim never even stood a chance. Flashbang basically the entire time he hit behind that plywood, so he'll go down quickly, leave Snakes isolated and alone on the site.
Snake's going to be continuing to sit up on top here, waiting for the opportunity to arise to pick up a kill, and he's found it. Bye-bye to Dennis. One shot from that pistol is all he needs. The rest of the team now deciding whether it's worth it to try and push in here or not. It's only a 2-man setup, as you kind of would normally expect, and they've got the utility for it. So here comes the first smoke over here, blocking off the garden position for Spongy. All that pressure going to have to come from Snakes, and I can imagine a little bit from Spongy too. However, as you can see, Sprout called the lateral. They're going to be moving over here towards the A site instead, where there's only one player defending it, as the rotate was already called for Exceed. He's already gone through arches and up the highway.
Voltage now dropping into the pit. He was spotted. Tries to buy time, but Searson does not miss that shot. Just sees a pixel of his skull and rips it from between his shoulders. And again, this is likely a save call coming in for the two players with rifles. We've got Exceed playing close with the USP. He wants to try to keep it, but the other two going to be heading back towards B. I mean, at this point, you have to, but you're giving them so much. 14-5 is going to be your scoreline. That's a massive comeback attempt.
They should be able to buy with these saves, so I think that's the hope for Triumph, is that, yeah, we don't really have a real chance to get in from Library with basically zero utility and one guy on a USP, but we do have a hope if we pull back and save for the next round.
I mean, it's a justifiable save, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that what they're doing is a mistake. It's more just like, you hate to be in that position as a team where it's like, dude, we're down so much, and we have to save and give them another round.
So Sprout are going to move into that safe corner there. Won't be evacuating the site, and they'll keep everyone still up alive in that situation. Triumph, this is basically it. We need to see something from them here. Otherwise, this map is over. And we're more than likely going to be seeing Sprout take the 1-0 lead.
I want to say the comeback is possible, but hope fading currently. Receding quicker than my hairline.
So
All is beautiful, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Tom here as well, and it's me. We've got Moses.
The numbers are multiplying.
Dudes, like, come on now. We are many.
It's mainly in Counter-Strike, which is the interesting thing. I think someone mentioned that on the desk yesterday, or I think you mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, there's a lot of us.
Yeah. Weird thing. But either way, we've got
our brains
Sprout.
are so big, it's actually pushing our hair follicles out. That's why.
All the stress from
that
MM
too.
games, that too.
It's also being an NACS fan. Just makes you naturally lose your hair. Grim catches them as they come through the smoke. He'll pick up 2 kills. Keto responds, but it's down to a 4-on-2, and now it's just 1. It's Speedy. Great round, great defense over on the B site by Triumph.
A shutdown from them. Beautiful stuff from Triumph there. The early kill as they peek out and have their Sprout's opper past the smoke, and following that, they seem to catch Sprout right in the middle of them starting their execute as well. So perfect timing on the push, even if it was accidental from Triumph there. They'll take it, and they'll take the round with it. That'll keep them in the game. At minimum for just a few more rounds here, but hopefully for them, the start of a comeback.
You know, even if they don't bring it back and take the map or take it to OT, as long as they can put some rounds up and make this more respectable scoreline, that'll make it a little bit easier to move into that second map. Like, it's okay, okay, yes, we lost, but we kept it a little bit closer than it was because we were getting blown out. There was a legitimate concern at one point that this would be a 16-0 with the way that those early rounds were really shaping up. A lot of damage dealt here early with the nades. They're going to try to get past this if they can, but look at that. Searson's on 16, 17 for Speedy. Faven's at half health as well. Great nade work early on by Triumph.
So much pressure coming in from Sprout there, too. They were trying so hard to push past the utility spread, and that's why they take so much damage. We're trying to be gung-ho and just take full control of Banana, and I would imagine push that forward onto the B site, too, but that got called off in the middle of the play once Triumph was able to hold them off at half wall.
Still possible for them to get into the site. They need to find that entry and quick, and yikes, that's one way to do it. Snakes immediately taken out by Dennis. They've got Grim up on the boost, so we'll at least find an equalizer. But Utility's gonna come out. Grim's actually gone past this one, so Grim's still out on the site, and he's able to potentially, but can't quite get the recoil under control. Triumph did all that early nade damage, but they do not capitalize. So it'll be down to a retake. Spongy and Exceed. Spongy's who you want in this position, given that he's been the clutch god so many times for Triumph in the past.
Seriously, an incredibly aggressive peek from him a moment ago there, and Faven just completely blind. Exceed's gonna be able to walk right in and take him out. Everything falls to Searson at low HP, but that doesn't matter when you got an op in your hands. He's gonna be able to knock out Exceed, bring this down to a 1v1. Rotate from Spongy, working its way up to Searson now, and Searson doesn't have the read, so Spongy will pick up that kill. Should have just enough time for this defuse to put Triumph up to 7.
Exceed coming in with the COD plays. Jump peeking every corner. You know, he gets the first jump kill, and then he gets another jump kill, and he goes for a third jump peek as well. It doesn't work out so well against the op. He kind of pins him against the wall. But another round for Triumph nonetheless. Spongy only gets the 1 kill, but it's the kill that matters most. The 1v1 ends up getting the defuse, saves the op as well, which I actually don't really feel like the op is the most pivotal part for Triumph. We've talked about that already. But they'll bring it into the round regardless. It'll go into Voltage's hands. Pistols coming out here for Sprout. Would love to see Triumph just get double digits on the rounds.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit unnecessary to have the op here on this round, just considering it's an anti-eco against all pistols from Sprout. But at the same time, that added firepower is good to hold back the aggression from the T's in general. Almost another round where Sprout gets away with an execute onto B, by the way, that, again, just like a few rounds prior, they had no business taking control of the site, considering the setup.
Oh, they took so much damage early on. I mean, they had 2 players sub 20. They had a player at half health within the first 15 seconds of the round.
That's the very dangerous thing for me about this series in general right now is like, yes, Triumph are coming back, but you still are seeing Sprout get away with a lot of stuff that they really shouldn't be allowed to get away with.
Yeah, and Sprout is giving them opportunities, and Triumph is not really taking them. So need to capitalize more on those mistakes. Over on the B side here, this is going to be tough. This is a big misread from Triumph right now, as they've only got 1 player here, and it's Voltage, and he's got the op. This is the worst possible thing you could have if you're Triumph, and a miss molly. That's huge, because you have an op here. If they rush this op and take it out, now that defense is going to be so much easier for Sprout if they get the bomb down, but they won't. The bomb gets dropped at the tail end. Double molly going down as well. They're not going to be able to pick that one up and run it back in. They're burning, just trying to get to it. Huge play from Exceed. That kill on the tail end saves the round.
It's going to be an incredibly awkward end of the round for Dennis here. Not much he can try to do. Does knock down the op, but it'll more likely get, oh, what? 2 kills from him here. He's got armor at least to play into that and avoid some of the aim punch. But he takes another one as well. Nice play there. Nice attempt.
That illustrates the threat that they were in if they got the bomb down. Like, if they lose that op, and then they have an op on the site and some proficient pistol players like you have on the side of Sprout, that round could have very well been lost. Exceed getting that kill on the tail end player who just happened to have the bomb saves the round. They double molly. They didn't use any of their utility, really. They double molly. He gets in front of it, but he has to run back with the bomb, and he just can't do it, so he cooks alive. Another guy tries to go out and get the bomb. Doesn't work out either. So another buy will be coming in from Sprout. The AWP in Searson's hands. SG is going to be deployed, and they're moving fast up mid. Voltage at shotgun range. Hits the first shot, misses the second, but a trade is there. Speedy tries to get across. Exceed finds 1 more on the round. 3-on-2. Fast play coming in from Sprout. They didn't slow down after those early kills.
No, we got Dennis and Searson trying to work their way in now. Spongy, though, realizes the jump has just happened from Dennis. Can he get the kill? Yes. Knocks him out. Now just has to worry about the op from Searson. Seen some crazy play from him. He's a little more on and off this game, but in these clutch situations, this is often where we see him shine the most. He's going to try his best to hide into that box corner, but it won't work out. He'll get mollied out of position. He knows he's got his opponent right around the bend, but finally he gets baited into taking the shot by Snakes, and he'll peek out to finish out the round.
Well played by both sides, actually. Like, you got to admire his moves to actually get into the site, despite there being a pit player and a player playing Moto. Then he dodges off that molly. He still manages to get away, survive a little while longer. But Snake's just playing with him at that point, toying with his food. 9 rounds to 14. Again, a save comes out from Sprout. It's going to be pistol armor, so it's not a full save, and it is Deagles. And we've watched Keto hit his fair share of 1 Deags throughout this tournament thus far. Got to be a little bit scared right now if you're Triumph. Can't play this one too aggressively.
Faven and Keto, of course, taking that early damage, but it's going to be undeterred as the rest of the team groups up for a push onto the B-bomb site. Once again, look at a swarm with numbers on their eco here. More of a deco this time, considering the amount that's in play there. I think Sears the only one without one as he needs to save for the op. Triumph in the meantime, just a normal 2-3 split here. So we'll more than likely see those 3 players on A rotate relatively quickly again. Oh, a nice opener from Keto, though. Snakes peeks right into it. Grim going to be trying to hold in the corner. Good spray control to get 2 headshots out of that. But Dennis is ultimately going to take him down, meaning it's an even exchange, bringing this down into a 3v3.
They utilize the smoke to get out and grab the bomb. Down goes Faven inside the smoke. Keto's going to take some damage as well. That was from XC, but again, another deagle coming in from him. We talked about it right at the beginning of the round. Keto's deagle is so dangerous. And he found the opener.
Speaking of dangerous.
Dennis goes into that smoke, gets caught off guard by the AWP. Again, Voltage hits the shotgun style close range shot. Keto wants to go through this smoke. Flash comes in. What's the play from Keto? He looks like he's going to hide in it right now. So it's Spongy and Voltage try to get on the site. It's all about timing from Keto. He's trying to play this one smart. Down goes the smoke on the bomb. He pushes through, but there's Spongy watching it. Well played on the retake from Triumph.
Good attempt from Keto at the end of the day there. Plays that very smart up until that final moment. And unfortunately, his opponent was very much ready for him. And the exclamation point pops up over his head as he goes down. So, Triumph finding quite a bit of consistency here, up into double digits, and a pause will be called. I would assume attack pause from Sprout. We'll get confirmation on that in just a second.
I mean, this could honestly be either side. I could see Triumph even calling a pause here, saying like, okay, yeah, we've brought it back, but they could just as easily close this one out. Let's think about what we want to do here. It would make sense for it to be Sprout, given the way that things have shaped out thus far, but it is Triumph, so MCE decides, hey guys, let's make sure we keep everything working. Let's not get into it too much and get over aggressive and play that classic NA hyper confident play style that you see a lot of teams do when they start building the comebacks. How many times have we watched NA teams go from like a 14-4 to a 14-14 and then they lose?
Very often. That's what we need to see here for Triumph. It's the key thing to remember. There's still 4 more rounds between them and their opponents here, and these have been incredibly close rounds a lot of times, even on things like ecos from Sprout. As you were mentioning, Tribes need to be very, very careful about how they proceed with these final rounds to make sure they don't throw away this comeback attempt. They did try to go for a pretty heavy stack on B, assuming that there would be like a rush or something like that this round. And that's allowed for players like Searson to get into a pretty aggressive position early on. He could actually find, there you go, the pick on Voltage from that.
Yeah, that's huge. That's the op down for the side of Triumph. He just basically walked his way up apartments. Here they come fast up, so it was actually, they were right that it was going to be a quick play, but it was a quick play on the other side of the map. Dennis gets into the bomb site. Exceed didn't really have much of an opportunity to take that battle. Spongy inside the pit. Thought he could take down Faven, but it doesn't work out. And the round is quickly falling apart. It's deteriorated to this point. It is Grim. The round and the player left remaining, both Grim.
Going to try to pull out the 1v3 here, it looks like. Oh, has a nice opening shot on Faye, but he was already low, so Keto's peek from the pit finishes things off. Sprout now finally up on map point after considerable delay between the 14th and 15th rounds. And now just one more separates them from a 1-0 lead here.
MCE not looking happy with whatever the decision was made there. That missed call on the stack early on totally cost them map control. They couldn't afford to give Sprout. Sprout played fast towards the A site. They expected the fast play towards B. It was a roll of the dice, and the dice just rolled up wrong.
Hits 7. Pearson, take an aggressive stance early on. He'll be blinded out, and that'll be a trade. However, he's got support from Faven, meaning that Grim is also going to fall, and Sprout still take the lead from that fight.
Snake's looking for the rifle as well. He can't quite find it. He's got to be careful. There's still this player here with the SG. And he decides to peel off. Meanwhile, in mid, though, Keto has already made his way up. Voltage is going to be waiting with the AWP. Does he hit this shot onto Keto, the lead man, trying to make his way towards that direction? No, the timing. Voltage decides to change positions as Keto comes around the corner.
Dennis still investigating options up banana in the meantime as well. A little bit of indecision here from Sprout, but they still have a minute left, so I'm not super worried about it. Oh, the bomb peeking out. Rockets there is going to be a little dangerous, but thankfully Keto is still available. Attack that support here. Most importantly, throw a wrench in the rotate when it does come to pass.
Oh, look at this. What is going to happen here? I'm really curious how this pans out because Spongy has now made his way into CT spawn as well. He's starting to rotate over. Will Keto catch the player before Spongy gets there?
Oh, they're going beast. This is awkward. Oh, but Keto gets a kill, and now just what, 2 players left? The B site's open. The play from Sprout made sense. Voltage just find Dennis, but that was meant to cut off the rotate. Now they know exactly where the last man is, and they can easily position themselves just to take him down, although they're doing it in a very split way. Voltage just gets another 1v1 against Keto, and since he's low HP, he wins it.
Voltage does have a kit, too, so there is opportunity here for him. There's the high flashbang going out. Well thrown, that'll give him some room to work with. He moves his way up towards construction. He has no idea where this second player is. And Faven's playing this one just carefully, waiting. This is a difficult retake. Excellent crossfire setup coming in from Sprout. Does great damage onto Faven, but unable to close it out in the end. So it will be Sprout taking the first map, 16-10. But a far closer map than we anticipated with the way the early rounds played out.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think quite a few people, including us, would have been able to easily see this map ending at like 16-3 or 4 even, with the way that things were looking at the beginning of this game. A good bounce back from Triumph to be able to bring it as close as they did, considering the circumstances, but Sprout still coming out on top, and the same situation, right? Sprout just getting away with so many of these plays that they had no business doing so. That's going to continue to be a problem as we move into the second map here, coming up in just a few.
And you really do look at that round where they take that timeout, and MCE goes for that decision to try to go for that stack towards B, and they go towards A, and you're just like, that was the pivotal point. Had they not made that decision, things might have gone a little bit differently. Maybe they did force it to overtime if that round goes a different way. Who knows?
Well, we're going to be finding out the result of this matchup in just a little bit as map number 2 is coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. We'll be right back.